Hello and welcome to a fresh new episode of Science Monitor, our weekly update on all that is happening in the field of science and technology in and around the country. When did life originate on Earth? What caused the recent earthquake felt in northern India? Do sausages and ham cause cancer? Well, we will explore answers to these questions in our program today, but first up, a look at the headlines. Afghanistan's earthquake. Are soft sediments present in Indo-Gangetic plains a culprit? Anti-malarial vaccine may soon be a reality. Origin of life dates back much earlier than we think. New clues indicate. Sausages and bowel cancer. WHO experts decipher the link. And in our In Focus segment today, we will discuss about genetic disorders. And now the news in detail. While the recent earthquake in Afghanistan originated 200 kilometers deep inside the earth at the Hindu Kush, the tremors were felt strongly across most of the northern India. Now, considered unusual for the waves to remain so strong despite traveling such depths, scientists have come up with fascinating revelations. The soft sediments of the Indo-Gangetic plain may have caused the amplification of the earthquake shocks. More in this report.
While the world was just recovering from the shock of devastating Nepal earthquake, another quake measuring 7.7 on Richter scale hit the Hindu Kush mountain range on the afternoon of 26th October. The powerful earthquake that struck northeastern Afghanistan was intensely felt in Pakistan and Tajikistan, killing dozens, collapsing structures and creating panic. Various parts of northern India, including Delhi, Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Haryana, Jammu and Kashmir, Uttar Pradesh, western parts of Bihar and Ahmedabad, Vadodara and Sikkim, experienced the tremors. According to the experts, this major earthquake in the Hindu Kush mountain range has occurred due to the presence of soft sediments across the Indo-Gangetic plain, which has amplified the impact. Hindu Kush mountain range is a seismically active region where deep earthquakes of a few hundred kilometers are usual. While under normal conditions, the impact of the earthquakes that occur very deep gets reduced by the time the waves travel to the surface. The recent earthquake that occurred at a depth of 200 km from the surface saw significant energy release. According to experts, the high impact despite the depth was due to the efficient transmission of the earthquake waves in soils with soft sediment across the Indo-Gangetic plain.
Prevention indeed is better than cure. While the only prevention we had till now against much dreaded malaria was avoiding mosquito bites, we may now stand a better chance. Researchers have developed a potential vaccine that might offer protection against malaria. What is more, the vaccine is developed from the protein of the pathogen itself. More in this report.
An ancient disease that is still running its rampage worldwide. Caused by different strains of a parasite called Plasmodium and spreads through mosquitoes, malaria poses grave risk to almost half of the world's population. But now prevention of malaria may not be limited to eliminating mosquitoes. For scientists at the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, Mumbai, in collaboration with the University of Maryland School of Medicine, Baltimore, might have arrived on a vaccine to combat malaria. The vaccine is based on a small segment of malarial parasite protein called enolases. The protein, normally found in all cells, is involved in the metabolism of glucose and production of energy. Researchers involved in the study, under the leadership of Dr. Jarori, have deciphered that the enolases is present on the outer surface of the malaria parasites in 2 invasive stages and helps the organism invade the host cells and multiply. The team has also discovered that malarial enolases differ from human enolases in a region with 5 amino acids, which has protective antigenic properties. The team used this unique segment and genetically stitched it into a nanoparticle protein, which was used for vaccinating mice to see the effects. According to researchers, the mice vaccinated with this engineered protein showed better survival rates than unvaccinated mice. Unlike the vaccines presently under trials, enolase-based vaccine can also act as broad-based vaccine to prevent malaria caused by different species and strains of Plasmodium, as the small amino acid segment is highly conserved in different strains. The vaccine can not only be used to prevent malaria in humans, but also to inhibit transmission through mosquitoes. And what is more, since the small segment plays a very crucial role in burning glucose to produce energy, they cannot undergo mutation to bypass the immune system, and hence the vaccine is likely to remain effective even after a prolonged period of usage.
When exactly did life originate on Earth is perhaps the greatest mystery of all times. With clues scattered and gathered from around the world, researchers have been trying to put back this puzzle together. Now, a new clue in the form of tiny graphite specks indicates that life must have been on the Earth 300 million years before than we think it all started. Let us see this report.
When and how did life originate on Earth? Various theories and speculations exist to explain the origin of life on Earth. Now, a breakthrough discovery suggests that life on Earth may have begun millions of years earlier than previously thought. This comes from a group of researchers from the University of California who have measured the carbon isotopes of graphite preserved in a 4.1 billion-year-old mineral sample. The team was investigating a sample of silver of zircon mined from the Jack Hills of Western Australia, which are thought to contain some of the oldest minerals on Earth. The sample contained 2 microscopic specks of graphite, was subjected to a technique called secondary ion mass spectrometry, which involves shooting a beam of caesium ions onto the surface of the graphite to understand its carbon isotope composition. The results are astonishing. The study suggests that the graphite inclusions found in the zircon sample are much older than the 4.1 billion-year-old sample itself, and is enriched in the isotope carbon-12 by around 2% compared with carbon in the Earth as a whole. Since such concentration of carbon-12 is a property of living organisms, this could be evidence that life on Earth started about 300 million years earlier than currently thought. The study also sheds a new light on the composition of Earth in ancient times and indicates that Earth must have been hospitable with presence of liquid water, contrary to the belief that Earth was then a sterile, dry, hot planet under heavy meteorite bombardment. In the meantime, some researchers have also pointed out that the graphite inclusion may also be of non-living origin and stressed on the need of measuring more samples of carbon in other ancient rocks in the region. The results of the study have been published in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences.
Bacons and sausages. Processed meat is a favorite on the table. But in a shocking new review, experts have placed them in a list that includes cancer-causing agents like diesel fumes and cigarettes. Well, according to WHO experts, processed meat like bacon and ham may cause bowel cancer.
While processed food has been long associated with obesity and ill health, here comes another shocking revelation. According to experts of WHO, processed meat like ham can lead to bowel cancer in humans. At the same time, red meat has been linked to bowel cancer, along with pancreatic and prostate cancer. The review, based on 800 studies, was conducted by the France-based International Agency for Research on Cancer, part of the WHO. Based on the review, IARC has classified processed meat such as hot dogs and ham in its Group 1 list, which already includes carcinogens like tobacco, asbestos, and diesel fumes. IARC has classified red meat, including beef, lamb, and pork, as a probable carcinogen in the Group 2A list that also contains a glyphosate, the active ingredient in many weed killers.
The IARC working group concluded that processed meat, that is, the consumption of processed meat, is carcinogenic to humans, and that the consumption of red meat is probably carcinogenic to humans. These findings reinforce existing dietary guidelines from a number of health authorities, including the World Health Organization. That is, that people who eat meat should consider reducing their consumption to reduce their risk of several diseases, including cancer.
According to findings on meat by a meeting of health experts in France earlier this month, it is estimated that each 50-gram portion intake of processed meat daily increases the risk of colorectal cancer by 18%. While IARC does not suggest that eating meat is as dangerous as smoking, it has cited an estimate from the Global Burden of Disease Project that 34,000 cancer deaths per year worldwide are attributable to diets high in processed meat. If the cancer link with red meat are confirmed, diets rich in red meat could be responsible for 50,000 deaths a year worldwide, according to the Global Burden of Disease Project.
And in Science Monitor, we'll take a very short break. We'll be back with more science news. Stay with us. Welcome back. After the break, you're watching Science Monitor. Let us now have a look at some important science and technology activities happening in India and abroad in our segment Science Express.
With the aim of fighting pollution and encouraging people to use public transport, India's national capital on 22nd October observed the first token car-free day. The day was observed by keeping a 7-kilometer stretch between Red Fort and India Gate free from vehicles. New Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal flagged off a cycle rally to mark the day. In a step towards promoting tiger conservation in the country, a bike rally was conducted in Mumbai recently. Bollywood actor Amitabh Bachchan flagged off the bike rally on 24th October. The 7-day bike rally is scheduled to cover 1,000 kilometers, passing through 4 tiger reserves in the state, and will conclude in Tadoba Andheri Tiger Reserve. The bikers will spread the message on saving tigers among the public. In yet another addition to known biodiversity, researchers at the Department of Aquatic Biology and Fisheries, University of Kerala, have reported the discovery of 4 new species of crab from the Kerala coast. This includes 3 hermit crabs discovered by a team led by Dr. A. Biju Kumar in collaboration with Natural History Museum and Institute Chiba, Japan. The hermit crabs have been named Pagarus leucolentus, Diogenes canaliculatus, and Pagarus spinoceor respectively. The fourth new species, named Afropinotheus ratnakara, was found inside the brown mussel at Kovalam. Adding to the biodiversity data of the world, scientists have reported the discovery of a new species of giant tortoise on the Galapagos Island. The species have been identified based on their genetic makeup, which is different from other tortoise species residing in the Pacific archipelago. These species, which have been named Chelonoidus donfostoi or the eastern Santa Cruz tortoise, are slow-moving grazing reptiles that lives in a 15 square mile area of the eastern Santa Cruz, has a more compressed shape compared to other species. In a major step towards space-faring NASA's Space Launch System, the most powerful rocket ever built and the first vehicle designed to meet the challenges of the journey to Mars, has completed all steps needed to clear a critical design review. The critical design review tested the first of 3 configurations planned for the rocket, referred to as SLS Block 1. With the first round of testing of the rocket's engines and boosters successful, all the major components for the first flight are now under production. This review is the last of 4 reviews that examine concepts and designs. The next step for the program is design certification, scheduled in 2017, after the completion of manufacturing, integration and testing. A new study published in the International Journal of Obesity indicates that children who receive higher doses of antibiotics during their childhood gain weight significantly faster than those who do not. The new study deciphers the link between antibiotics and obesity and suggests that antibiotics may have a compounding effect throughout childhood on body mass index. The study is based on the analysis of Geisinger Health System's electronic health records on 163,820 children between 3 and 18 years old from January 2001 to February 2012.
Malaria, dengue, flu, hepatitis and so on. Most of us are aware of the infectious diseases caused by external pathogens. But not many of us know about a class of disorders caused due to inborn errors and often resulting in ailments that are present from birth. Difficult to diagnose and manage, genetic disorders are much more common than we think and assume a large disease burden in developing nations. What happens when the genes that determine our heredity carry errors and undergo mutations? Well, we'll try to understand about some common genetic disorders in our next segment, In Focus.
We have seen Amitabh portray the perils of progeria in his acclaimed movie Pa. And we have seen Shah Rukh depict the issues of autism in My Name is Khan. Progeria and autism are rare genetic conditions that cause premature aging and learning disabilities. But what is less known is that there are about 7,000 genetic disorders that affect 6% of worldwide births every year. Though genetic diseases are classified as rare, according to statistics, 17 lakh children are born annually with various types of genetic diseases and birth defects in India alone. These genetic disorders may be inherited at birth, caused by harmful environmental factors, or caused by a host of unknown factors. And while some of the congenital defects can be controlled and treated, majority of the disorders are incurable and causes disabilities for life. Genetic causes of birth defects are generally classified into 3 categories. Some are attributed to chromosomal abnormalities, while others to single gene defects and multifactorial influences. A person's genetic makeup is determined at conception by the genes carried by the 23 pairs of chromosomes that are passed on to the embryo from parents. Any change in the number or structure of these chromosomes results in genetic disorders. For example, Down's syndrome. One of the most common genetic disorders is caused by an extra pair of chromosome in the embryo. Hence, while normal human beings have 46 chromosomes, people with Down syndrome have 47 chromosomes because of an extra copy of the 21st chromosome. The extra chromosome affects the development and results in physical malformations like a flat face and nose, short neck with excess skin at the back of the neck, small head, ears and mouth, upward slanting eyes, white spots on the colored part of the eye, etc., along with some degree of intellectual disability. Another very common genetic disorder is called alpha and beta thalassemia. Thalassemia is an inherited blood disorder caused by the absence or error in genes involved in the production of hemoglobin. This results in severe anemia with fatigue, an enlarged spleen, easily broken bones, bone pain, and shortness of breath, along with jaundice and other infections. Sickle cell anemia is another blood-related disorder caused by mutation in the genes that result in abnormal structure of hemoglobin molecule. As a result, hemoglobin, which is usually disc-like in shape, cluster together and become sickle-shaped. This greatly reduces their oxygen carrying capacity. Hemophilia is a sex-linked hereditary bleeding disorder caused by a genetic mutation in the X chromosome of mother. Hence, males are more prone to this disease as they have only one X chromosome, while in females, the dominant gene on the second X chromosome may compensate for the defect. The condition is characterized by the lack of essential blood clotting factor, which results in excessive and sometimes spontaneous bleeding, which can be fatal. Recently, the social media was buzzing with the news of the famous ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. ALS, or the Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, is a progressive paralytic condition that results in death of neurons, resulting in paralysis, difficulty in speaking, swallowing, and eventually breathing. Renowned physicist Stephen Hawking is a victim of ALS. Huntington's disease is another degenerative disorder, which children have a 50% chance of developing and passing it along to their children if one of their parents has it. Huntington's disease results in uncontrolled movement, difficulty in swallowing, behavioral changes, difficulty in balancing and walking, memory, speech, and cognitive loss, etc., and shows up when the individual is between 30 and 40 years old, though rare forms develop during childhood. Another genetic disorder is cystic fibrosis, which occurs only when both parents are carriers. This gives their children a 1 in 4 risk of contracting the disease. Cystic fibrosis results in the absence of certain proteins which balance chloride in the body. This results in difficulty in breathing, recurrent lung infection, digestive and reproductive issues. While there is no definitive treatment for disorders like the Down syndrome, Duchenne muscular dystrophy, and other certain conditions like thalassemia, sickle cell anemia, and hemophilia can be managed to a certain extent. Today, there are varieties of genetic tests available to diagnose the condition at the embryonic stage. Now, in a major step towards creating awareness among clinicians and public regarding rare genetic disorders, a collaborative team of researchers and physicians have instituted the Indian Organization for Rare Diseases, or IORD. The organization aims to sensitize policymakers and convince pharmaceutical industry to focus on the problem of rare genetic diseases. Unlike infectious diseases and lifestyle disorders, genetic disorders require a very early diagnosis and lifelong management. Under such conditions, there is a need of collective effort to tackle rare genetic disorders.
Well, that is all for this episode of Science Monitor. Do tell us how do you like our program. Well, you can send your feedback and suggestions. Our email ID is news@vigyanprasar.gov.in. You can also write into us at Vigyan Prasar C24, Qutub Institutional Area, New Delhi 110016. Well, we'll be back with fresh news stories on science and technology again next week. Till then, keep watching Rajya Sabha TV and think scientific. Bye-bye.